John 14:6. Jesus answered, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Bye.
Good morning, DayBreak. My name is Wagenvoort, and I am the Interim Children's Ministry Coordinator here. Thank you so much to Oliver and Amira and the fantastic job they did with John 14, verse 6. And kiddos, if you want to be in the video reading John 14, verse 6, send your submissions to office@daybreakairdrie.com, with your parents' permission, of course. Another thing we want to start doing here is birthday shoutouts, or just any kind of shoutouts. So parents and kids, if you've had a birthday since March, or you're celebrating a birthday very soon, send that over to the office at daybreakairdrie.com as well, so we can shout you out in our next video. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get to this Sunday's story. John the Baptist and Jesus. Today's story looks into the moment when John the Baptist's teaching and mission stepped aside so Jesus could be recognized for how special he and his teachings are. One day, Jesus and his friends went outside of Jerusalem to the countryside. Now some people had seen Jesus and wanted to hear him speak, so Jesus began teaching them about God. And once Jesus was done with his teaching, he began to baptize these people. Now, do you remember last week's story when we talked about Jesus and Nicodemus? I hope you do. If not, the video's just down there, so I can wait. Are you back? So, baptism is exactly what Jesus meant when he told Nicodemus people need to be born again of water and spirit. Mainly the part about water, because baptism in Jesus' time was done by dunking people in the water. And it's still done to this day, in a variety of ways. But back to the story. Not too far from where Jesus and his friends were baptizing people, John the Baptist was doing the same thing. Now, Jesus and John were cousins, and John had started his teachings and baptizing people a little before Jesus did. And Jesus, Denise, can you cut this part? Some of John's followers saw Jesus and his friends doing the same thing, and they were baptizing people. I don't know what that part of the story is. I have to cut this. Dang it. I'm just starting from the top of the story. Not cool? Okay. Now, today's story looks into the moment when John the Baptist's teaching and mission stepped aside so Jesus could be recognized for how special he and his teaching are. Now, one day, Jesus and his friends went outside of Jerusalem to the countryside, and some people had seen Jesus and wanted to hear him speak. So Jesus began to teach them about God. And after they were done, Jesus took them to the river and started baptizing these people with his friends. Now, do you remember last week? If not, the video's down there, so you go check it out and come back here. We'll be waiting. Last week, we talked about Jesus and Nicodemus. Now, baptism is exactly what Jesus meant when he told Nicodemus that someone needs to be born again of water and spirit, specifically water, because baptism in Jesus' time was done by dunking people in water. And that's still done to this day, but it's done in a variety of ways. But back to the story. Not too far from where Jesus and his friends were baptizing people, John the Baptist was doing the same thing. Now, John and Jesus were cousins, and John had started teaching people about turning away from their evil deeds and baptizing people, a little before Jesus began his ministry. So John's followers saw Jesus's followers and Jesus doing what they were supposed to be doing, baptizing people. And John's followers got really mad. And they went to go tell John. John, the man you said was so important? Well, he's baptizing people. And everyone is going to him instead of coming to us. John replied to his followers saying, I have told all of you many times, I am not the chosen one to save the world. I am here to prepare the way for him. I am so excited that Jesus and his friends are baptizing people and teaching so many people. And if that means our teaching and baptizing brings in far less, well, I couldn't be happier. The only way for me to do what I need to do is if I become less and Jesus becomes greater. John's words didn't stop there, and he continued by telling his followers, he has come from heaven and is greater than anyone else. All of us speak about earthly things, but Jesus, he came from heaven, and he speaks about heavenly things. Even if few people can believe in him, for those who do believe in him, well, they can believe God is true. He is sent by God, speaks God's words, and God gives him the Spirit whenever he needs. John finished by saying, anyone who believes in God's Son will have eternal life. Now, God gave John the Baptist a special job. John told people, get ready for Jesus, because Jesus is coming. And God sent Jesus to earth from heaven. And when Jesus was older, he went out to teach people about God. Jesus was here. That concludes the story for this week. We see that John was sent to prepare the way for Jesus. And in this story, Jesus had come. So John's ministry of preparing the way was starting to take a back seat. And John's okay with that, because he knew his job and he knew what he needed to do. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that story, and please feel free to submit your videos or good news to our office email. And with that all being said, who wants to do some coloring? Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. And from us here at DayBreak, we hope you have a fantastic rest of your Sunday. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.